intelligence, or you'll be sorry.
Look at Donald Trump. He had humility. He had failed business.
Yeah,
he had a very failed business.
He admitted, he backed away from some language. He backed away. He admits mistakes. I mean, certainly, can he?
He lost everything.
Can he? Yeah,
he has humility.
That's true. He.
I have to say that for him.
Yeah, I mean, we
both know him.
We've both met him, know him, and I live in one of his beautiful buildings. In fact, lucky me. Look, could he up his game with humility? Yes. Can we all? Yes. It's a constant project, an ongoing project. To hone our humility. It's through that we help others and the world, not by leading with our ego.
It's funny you mentioned Donald Trump, because I was going to bring him up when you were talking about leaders and ego and humility, because I would think that today very few people would say that he's humble. He may be. I don't disagree with you, but I think with how he is running now on the circuit and so forth, people would not call him humble at all. In fact, they would probably say he's very egotistical. However, he is leading in the polls right now. And
go through a time where he lost his whole business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I remember those times, and I remember him at that time, and I really admire him for fighting back, because that's what he did. Not only was he humble at the time, but he also was a great negotiator, because he had to go to all those banks and rework those deals and get a new way of doing business, and he's worked that out very well.
Yeah, and that took humility, yeah. And he's a master at negotiation, as we know. But, it's also public perception, and it's also the media, how it skews. There's a lot that goes on, so there's a lot that people don't see of him, and people are responding to him because he's centered and strong and a straight shooter.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think that's the thing right now, is that he really believes everything that comes out of his mouth, and he is a straight shooter. And so many people play the political game that they're not necessarily, they are not really saying what they really believe. But let me ask you, both of you, what advice would you offer women who are seeking to find their own career path?
Yes. You need to identify what jazzes you. You really need to.
You need to find your passion.
Yeah. What is your passion?
What makes you want to get up in the morning?
Right. What turns you on? What grabs your attention and keeps your attention and makes you feel completely alive?
If you don't want to jump up in the morning and go to work, you might be in the wrong profession.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I always say, I when I get out of bed, I get out of bed with a smile, and then I have these three little faces staring at me, and they want their food, and they want their loving, and it just puts a smile on your face. And I think it's true. I always go to bed very happy, and I get up very happy, and I live a happy day. So that's very important, because so much energy is drained out of you when you are unhappy, and when there are things that you're doing all day that you just don't want to do. And since this show is all about living regret-free, what are some of the other things that you would advise our listeners to do to live regret-free?
Oh, yes. If there's anyone that you feel that you mishandled in any way, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you must make amends. Forgiveness. Do not have deathbed regrets. We learned in seminary that is the number one thing to avoid.
They even do that in the 12 steps.
Oh.
They advise people to make amends.
Yeah.
Making amends with anybody that you might have hurt, if you can.
Yeah. If it's
and if it's going to hurt something, then don't do it. But to make amends with people and
yeah, forgiveness is a huge.
Forgiveness is huge.
Even if the person has passed on, there are rituals you can do.
You can write them letters, a letter that's never mailed.
Exactly. You can write about it. You can pray about it. You can meditate about it, reflect.
I think meditation is huge.
Well, I'm doing that 21-day meditation course with Oprah and Deepak Chopra. And it's all, this session, these 21 days are all about gratitude and grace. And it's just really interesting to me how they're presenting it. But the other thing that's a part of this, and maybe some of our listeners really need this to hear this from you, I think one of the hardest things to do is to show forgiveness when there has been a horrible act involved. In other words, I do think that, you can certainly forgive a friend, you can forgive someone who may not have done something you wanted them to do, or maybe you feel that they double crossed you in some way. But when there's a loss because of somebody's actions, like we see in the news so many times, how can people learn to forgive that?
Well, I would advise that they look no further than, Jesus Christ. I mean, that's my perspective. I mean, it's all in the Bible. If they're not open to that, I mean, when you don't forgive, when you're not able to do that, you're just clinging to, first of all, you don't want to cling to anything because it will own you.
And it hurts you the most.
Yeah. You're the loser when you don't forgive.
Well, I happen to agree with you, but how can people do that? That's what I'm asking. Can you give some steps that people could take to forgive? I mean, supposing they don't follow the Christian religion. I mean, supposing they're either in another faith, or they're agnostic, or atheists, or whatever.
Forgiving yourself is also detrimental. A lot of that's living regret free. You have to forgive yourself also. But I would say I'm a big person on journaling, on writing. Yeah. I think if you can write it out first
and look at, maybe the reasons will come up,
and think about it,
why you're not able to forgive this person. Why do you want to hang on to this anger, this bitterness? Why is it serving you? Really, do you think it is? Because you might end up with gallbladder surgery, if you're going to, we all know at this point, I hope at least, that negative thinking, that a thought is matter. I mean, I hope that we're at that stage, that everybody knows that your thoughts affect you physically. So if you really want your health to decrease in quality, then you're going to hang on to these negative thoughts. And I don't think anyone wants that. So to analyze, and if you're not a writer, then maybe speak into a tape recorder, listen to yourself. Why do you want to cling on to this bitterness?
Yeah, there are people that I have met in my seminars and my workshops that are hanging on to things from 20, 30 years ago. A lot of things that were done to them by their parents, and the parents are no longer even here. And someday you have to take control of your own life. But let's find out from you, is there a website that you'd like our audience to go to?
DiscoveringTheItFactorWithinYou.com.
DiscoveringTheItFactorWithinYou.com. Great, good thing to title it after your book. Well, I think you've brought out some varying viewpoints that some of our audience can really benefit from by knowing exactly, how to approach these things. I think writing in a journal are just great ideas. And also going into a tape or a digital recorder, I mean, absolutely, those are important things because, even for someone who is auditory and you speak those words and then you listen to them back, I mean, it gives you such a different look, and a different feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I want to thank you both, Leesa Rowland and Robin Cofer, being with me today. And I want to thank our audience. This is Dr. Gail Carson. Thanking you for listening to Living Regret Free, the show that gives you skills and techniques to achieve a regret-free life. Don't live a life of stress and negativity when you could be experiencing a life of joy, happiness, and reward. Our guests all have valuable tips to make your life a better one. Did you enjoy this week's show? Then join us next week for more exciting and informative guests on Living Regret Free. I would love to hear from you as to people you'd like on the show, questions you have for me, and you can email them to me at Gayle, that's Gayle, Carson13 @gmail.com, or go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com.